Hey there. This is the second video in this series of tutorials intended to get you through your the icon portion of your Illustrator skills test. So what we're going to be working on first is this RSS feed icon here in the upper left. And I'll try to describe it as thoroughly as I can as I go through it. But one of the most effective ways to do this is to build right on top of it so that your proportions are reasonably accurate. All right. So again, I'm going to zoom in a little tighter, and we'll start here by taking a look at it. So the background just looks like pretty basically a square where we've rounded the corners, and that's pretty easy. This dot is just an ellipse that's been constrained to a circle. And then here it looks like we have two arcs or parts of a circle that are thick or have been outlined. So let's take a look at those. Those are probably going to be the most challenging. If I look at this, I can see that this vertical line coming down off of those matches up with the left-hand side of the smaller circle. And if I look over here, I can see that the bottom of these two shapes aligns with the bottom of the same circle. So that should give us a clue on how to proceed. So first of all, let's see. I'm going to go with the ellipse tool, and I'm going to hold my Option and Shift key down and so that I can constrain that. And I think working with a black line right now is fine so that I can sort of see what I'm doing, right? I'm also going to make sure that my smart guides are turned on. That's super helpful, and those are, so I'm going to leave those on. And the next thing I'm going to do is come back to my ellipse tool, and this time I'm going to start my ellipse. If you can see, those smart guides have indicated that my starting point for the new ellipse is going to be in the lower left-hand side of the circle I just drew. So again, I'm going to hold the Option and Shift keys down and draw a new ellipse. And what I'm going to try to do is have that key line and right in the center of the white area that I'm trying to mimic. Now here I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm going to change my fill to null, and then I'm going to deselect this and do it one more time to get to the outer portion. All right, then I'll select both of those ellipses, and I'm going to increase the size of the stroke until that roughly matches, maybe one more, the size of the shape that I'm trying to recreate. Okay, so this is actually a pretty easy shape to edit because ellipses are described in sort of four segments. So if I just ungroup these with the Command Shift G, or I can right click and ungroup. Then I can go in here with my direct select tool and select a segment and delete it. And then I have to go through point by point to delete the other portions. But again, here, let's see. I've selected and deleted that segment, then that point, and then that point. Now, I could just color these white, color the stroke white, and it would look right in color mode, but because I want these to match up in the keyline mode, shown here, I'm going to go ahead and go through a simple operation that will achieve that result. So that's by going to your Object menu and going down to the Path, and then going to Outline Stroke, right? This is actually a very useful technique. And there we go. Now that's been outlined, and you can see that that's pretty much exactly the shape that we need it to be. So now I can change the fill to white. I can remove the stroke from our first circle. And now all I have to do is create my rounded square. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And hold the shift key down. And then I'm going to kind of nudge that in place because I started a little off center. Maybe I'll scale up a little bit, holding my shift key. And there we go. Then I'm going to grab one of these radius control points and bring that in until I'm about where I need to be. And I'm going to pick, well, I'm not going to do that. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move all of these objects, right? Deselect my background object and move them over here. Then with this selected, the rounded square, I'm going to use the eyedropper tool and source this guy right here. And because it's the most recent thing that I drew, it's going to be on top. So now if I right click on that object, I can go to Arrange and Send to Back. Okay, so you can see that with relatively few clicks, we've achieved pretty much exactly what we were setting out to do right there. So with that complete, I'm just going to select all of these elements and group it. If I do a Command Y, you can see that that is in fact the look that I'm going for. And so I'll zoom out now, and I will just put that in place on my template, ready to be graded. So that's it for our first icon. Next, we'll go on to the cog. All right, so stay tuned.